It feels so weird to be making a sit-down video like this. I'm sorry I haven't made any videos in a long time. I do want to start making more structure type YouTube videos on this channel because they're really, really fun to edit, and I love editing. That's like my favorite process when making videos. So I thought a sit-down question and answer video would be the perfect video to start with because I haven't done one of these in over a year, maybe a year and a half or so. So yeah, and I have like a bunch of new followers on especially Instagram and TikTok. So thank you for following along on my paleo journey, and thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate y'all. So yeah, I have a bunch of new followers, and a lot of them probably don't know anything about me. So I thought this would be a good video to start with. I've asked y'all to ask me questions on my Instagram. So this is where I'm getting all the questions from. So if you want to be included in the next question and answer video, be sure to follow me on my Instagram. It's hollymander98. That's the handle on all my social media. So if you want to be included in the next one, be sure to follow me on there. So let's get into the video. First question is, favorite place to fossil hunt in your state? So if you didn't know, I live in North Central Texas. So I'm assistant director of a natural history museum here. So I mostly study the lower Permian time period. That's the fossils that are in the area that I live in. That's kind of like what I'm dedicating my career to. So I would say my favorite place to fossil hunt in Texas is where I currently live. Yeah. What's your least favorite dinosaur? I feel like paleontologists don't have a least favorite dinosaur. First I want to say is like all dinosaurs are cool. All dinosaurs had a purpose for a different reason. I feel like all dinosaurs are important to study and freaking awesome. Cool. But there are some dinosaurs that are extremely like overrated, and we need to give like the little guys some spotlight, So one that I feel like is the most overrated is Tyrannosaurus Rex. Like, no hate on Tyrannosaurus. I love Tyrannosaurus. But I feel like T-Rex he just gets too much spotlight, like, let the little guy, be in the spotlight for once. So yeah. Okay, another question that I get a lot, and if you want me to make like a whole dedicated video explaining more about it, I can. So someone asked, or I guess a lot of people have asked me, like how I got into paleo, or how do you become a paleontologist? So I understand that my job is really cool, and not, like, you don't often run into a random person on the street who's a paleontologist very often. So a lot of people are curious about my job, like what I do, how I got into it, and the fact that it's not like a super common career or talked about career. It's very hard to get into paleo, and everybody's story is different, and everybody that I know that are paleontologists, how they got into paleo, everyone's story is completely different from each other. So one main question that I have gotten is like, what do you study at college? And first I want to say is I have never gone to college myself. I do want to in the future. It's just I started off doing paleo very young when I was just out of high school. So this position kind of just landed in my lap without happening to go to college, and not everyone gets lucky like that. Like, a lot of people search for jobs for years just because there's not very many positions available. I suggest volunteering. That's what I did. I started volunteering at my local museum, and I eventually got hired and just worked my way up. Take as many internships as you can. Take every opportunity that is given to you, because that doesn't come to everybody, and everybody is fighting to be a paleontologist, and there's not very many jobs available. So the more stuff that's on your portfolio, on your resume, the more likely you're going to get hired, just because there's not very many jobs available. So, people have to be stingy with who they hire. But it really just depends on who you know, how much experience you have, and you have to definitely take risk and put yourself out there, and you have to be willing to travel, because you kind of have to take whatever position's available, because they don't come very often. What inspired you to work with prehistoric animals? So I've always been interested in paleo and dinosaurs ever since I was like 4 years old. My parents really pushed dinosaurs on me, especially my dad. Like, he was like super a dinosaur nerd, and I got to watch the third Jurassic Park in theaters when I was a little kid. So dinosaurs have kind of always like been in my life. And you know, I was never taught this in school. Like no one ever really said, "Hey, this is a possible career that you can do." So I was actually gonna go into like wildlife photography because photography is like a second hobby in filmmaking. That's partially why I decided to make a YouTube channel because I love everything about filming and all that kind of stuff. And then I just randomly decided to move to this little small town when I graduated high school. And I was like, oh, cool, there's a natural history museum here. I'm going to see if I can volunteer. And I'm here now. So, yeah, that's basically how I got into prehistoric animals. I started learning about the Permian time period, and I realized like how underrated Permian is. Like, there's not very many scientists studying the lower Permian. And we have made so many new discoveries and have discovered more species that haven't been like publicized yet. And I'm really excited. And people don't realize like how important, you know, the Permian animals are, because if it wasn't for the Permian animals like Dimetrodon, Dilophosaurus, Didactes, like just an example of a couple, we wouldn't be here today. So if you want like a whole video of me explaining the different Permian animals and kind of just like an overview of what the Permian is and what makes them different from a dinosaur, let me know because I'd be happy to make that video. What is your best discovery yet? So I have a couple really cool discoveries that aren't published on yet, so I can't really talk about them. I can't like really talk about them or show images of them yet because they're not published. First one is I found a really big block of Samoria, which is one of the missing links between reptile and amphibians, and I found a block of a whole bunch of them, which is huge. And then in 2020, I found a possible new species of a ceratopsian dinosaur. When those are published on, I'll definitely let you know on my Instagram and like post a link where you can like read the paper and all that stuff. So yeah. So this is all the questions I'm going to be answering today because I don't want this video to be super lengthy. That's all the questions I'm going to answer today because I don't want the video to be too long. So, and definitely comment below what type of videos you would like to see from me.